So how's everyone? Today, we are going to meet two of the few closest people to me, my dad and my wife. So without further delay, let's get right into it. And I will be back with closing remarks. Hello, this your DJ, BrownSugarV. I am here with my wife, who will introduce herself briefly.
Hi, I'm Miss BrownSugarV. My name is Vania, V-A-N-I-A, and I am Joseph Williams' wife. Hello!
So many have seen our interview about us, but what we are going to do is get down and real. The gloves are coming off, so sit back and come on this journey with us.
Get down to the nitty-gritty.
So Vania, in your point of view, how did we meet? Could you take us on that journey?
Well. So, how did we meet? Well, when I first... You want me to tell everyone how... When I first saw you? Okay, so when I first saw Joseph, I couldn't believe my eyes. Like, I thought my eyes were deceiving me. I was walking into work, and I saw a man coming into the building, and I said, does that guy not have a job? But then, I was like, okay, I'm just sleepy. It's early in the morning, and, So when I got in the building, there he was, and I said, oh, my God. And I said, okay, this is real. And I kept on, all I could think is how? How did this happen? What happened? What's going on? Like, what's going on? I didn't mock him. I didn't make fun of him. I didn't take pictures or anything. I just felt deeply sorry for him. I was like, oh my God. I was like, the blood of Jesus. I went into prayer. And don't laugh. But yeah, I did. Seriously, I went into prayer. I was in a deep, I was in a deep spiritual connection with God. Like, I was really, 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 I was on a break from a relationship. And I just wanted to get to know who I was. I wanted to get closer to God. And so, yeah, I did. I went into prayer when I saw him. And I felt sorry. All I could think is, like, what happened? And I kept on coming up with these assumptions. Like, oh, well, maybe he got into a bad car accident. Maybe he was in some type of gang and got shot or something bad. I didn't know that he was born that way. And being the person that I am, I'm an introvert. I don't talk to people. I don't come up to people, talking to them, asking them a question. Usually people do that with me. So when I saw him, I said, I'm going to leave him alone. I'm not going to ask him what happened. I'm going to just let it, be what it is. So, excuse me, I got a sniff. Anyway, so when I saw him and, when he came up, what was I saying? Because I got ADHD and I forgot where I was at. So I was talking about
seeing a person without a job and with visible issues. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, I felt sorry. Like, I was to the point of tears. I felt really, really sorry. And he would just, I see him at work talking to people, through his text-to-speech app. And they be having conversations with him. He just laughing and talking, acting like it's all fine and dandy. And I'm looking like, how could he just laugh and talk to people? Like, if I was him, I would just go hide somewhere and never come out the house. But here he is, just out and about, like everything's lovely, la-di-da. And so he came up to me. He introduced himself. I guess Joe's just the type of person, he just walks up to people and try to get to know people. Like, if he found you interesting, something about you that he likes, he's going to come and talk to you. That's just what he does. And when he's talking to me, I talked to him back, and I was, like, friendly with him. I wasn't, like, ugh, get away from me, and nothing like that. I talked to him, and every day he would come in and talk to me. Hey, he'll teach me sign language, like, this is how you say hi in sign language, and all of this stuff. And so we had fun talking to each other. We made friends at work, and he was my only friend at work, because, like I said, I don't talk to a lot of people. I'm very protective of my spirit. I can feel spirits really, really good with people. Sometimes I don't like it because I want to fit in with everybody else. Like, oh, let me just like this person and be fake. Like, I'm not good at that. Like, I got to really, really like you to let my guard down. So it's a lot of work with me, But When I met Joseph, we just clicked. We clicked really good, and that's how it is for me. It's either we gonna click or we not. So me and Joe, we clicked, and he was like, "Hey, let's go out. Let's hang out. Let's do this. Let's do that." And the first time I stood him up. The first time I was like, "Oh no, no, no." I was like, "I'm not gonna go out with this stranger danger. He might, kidnap me or something like that." Then my mom, I was talking to my mom about Joe. Like, "Yeah, I met this guy. He ain't got no job. I used to call you No Face." I was like, "Yeah, No Face. He wanna go out with me." I was like, "Yeah, No Face. He wanna go out with me." But anyway, mom was like, "Oh, nah, you don't need to be going out with that. I don't know. That's something stranger danger. You don't want to be, So, like I said, every day he come to work talking to me, making me laugh. We just talk about our childhood. And I think why me and Joe click is because, and it's not a good thing, but we trauma bond. We bonded through our trauma. Like, he had a lot of trauma and so did I. And so we talked about our shelter life, how we were sheltered as children and how we felt like we should have, got out there more to experience the world and be a little more free. Stuff like that made us click a lot. It's not too many people that I know that was sheltered the way that I was. I'm pretty sure there is, but I just wasn't meeting them. I don't know. And it had a lot to do with our environment. Like, me and Joe, we both just, we didn't really see the world like how everybody else probably saw it. Like, just restricted from a lot, basically. So Joe just started talking to me about how he had to push himself out of the house, how he just left. And that's what I admired about Joe. He didn't care if he didn't have a job. He just pushed himself. He said, "I'm not finna just hide in the house. I'm gonna be a regular person. I'm finna go after my dreams. I'm finna do everything on this list that I said I'm gonna do." And that's what made me, that's what I admire about Joe the most, because me, I didn't do that. I said, F all of that. I'm staying in the house. I might get out a little bit here and there, but I don't know. I was just scary. Like, I'm always scared. Like, oh no, what if this happens? What if that happens? I always had the what ifs. But Joe, he just went for it. And he taught me, hey, you need to put yourself out there more. You need to show the world your gifts. God didn't give you those gifts just for you to keep to yourself. You got to show people what you're good at. And, he got something to say.
Well, you kind of touched on this already, but clearly, at some point, you and I became friends. What made you feel comfortable to make that transition from being strangers to being friends?
Well, like I said, we just clicked. And especially what made me connect with you is when I heard your story. Like, you told me how you almost died and how your mom, how she saved your life, and how your friend saved your life when you said you wanted to give up. You wanted to die. And so that still make me want to cry. But I don't want to cry. I ain't even got no tissue. But yeah, that's what made me. I need some tissue. Yeah. So yeah. Everybody's raised different. Everybody's views on life is different. I haven't met a person on this earth like Joe. And I don't know anybody with my personality. We both are different. He's different in his way and I'm different in mine. And I think that's what made us connect. Just, being different, being outcast, being rejected. People are like, well, how you get rejected? You look like a model. You cute. You this, you that. Blah 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 blah. But my personality is different. I don't look at the world the same way as other people, and so I can't help that I look like this. He can't help that he look like this. God put us in these shells, and that's it. That's all. It's just a shell. I didn't ask, hey God, make me look like this. He didn't. Nobody asked to look the way that they look. But yeah, our differences with other people, it's not nobody you can come and say, oh, well, this person acts just like you. I think you two would get along. I haven't met anybody like me. I haven't met anybody like Joe. We're just really, really good down to earth people, humble. We like to have fun. We like to enjoy life. We want a fulfilled life, and we deserve it because we're good to people. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm a crybaby, so I really can't talk. And plus, I got ADHD, so it's just gonna be all over the place.
When others come to you, asking the questions of why you with him, or the background comments of she just wants his money, you know that head is dead, and the comments can go on and on. What do you say to those people?
Well, money... No, I'm not with Joe for money. But the thing about that, if I was with Joe for his money, if I was with him for his penis size, whatever I'm with him for, that's what I'm with him for. Don't worry about what I'm with him for. But my truth is, we just connected spiritually. That's all I can say. I'm not embarrassed to be with Joe. I'm not embarrassed to be seen with Joe anymore. At first I was. It's only because, you know, how society puts that pressure on you and makes you feel like it's something wrong with you when actually it's something wrong with them. How could you be with a person who look good but they're not treating you good? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not getting anything out of being with a good looking person, and that's gonna die off soon. Like, I would rather be with somebody who treat me nice, who treat me good, who loves me. I want somebody who loves me at the end of the day. I want that family love, that real love. I don't want no superficial love, oh, infatuation, oh, you just look good, or I like your body, I like this, I like that. No, I want real love. You gonna see me looking crusty? You gonna see me with my wig off. You gonna see all of that. And I want to know if you love me just for that. I don't want you to love me because I'm cute, because I'm young and this and this. I'm going to get old and wrinkled and all this other stuff. Like I said, this is just a shell that we're going to have to leave one day. And if people don't get that, because I was there once upon a time too, so I'm not going to talk about the people who say those things, but if people don't get that, then you just have to let them be, because one day God got to show them. God got to show them in some kind of way that that's not the true meaning of life. Looking good and having things and money and all this stuff. You know how many people got all that stuff and they still feel like shit? So that don't impress me. That never did, like, really, really impress me. Like, I thought it did. That was a thought in my mind, and I think that's what a lot of people, I think people think that's what they want. They don't know what they want. Nobody really knows what they want. They just going after what people tell them what they should have. We get on social media, and we see all this stuff, and this is luxury, and you gotta have this, and aesthetics, and this, and this, and this. At the end of the day, that's all bullshit. Because you're going to have to leave. You can't take none of this stuff with you. None of it. And how you treat people is how you're going to be judged. We all got to get judged. We all going to be held accountable for how we do people and treat people at the end of the day. So you got to be very cautious of that. Because I don't know nobody on this earth that did me wrong and got away with it. I don't. So he said he don't either. So those are things that you gotta, take a look at yourself when you start thinking like that. Because I used to think like that too. Like, oh, I don't want to talk to no guy that look like that. Like, I even told my mom before I met Joe, I was like, my man gotta look like this, and I want him to look like that. And no, I remember I was at work, and it was a girl. We was like friends and stuff, and it was a guy. He was a good-looking guy, and he had money because he would pull up in nice cars and stuff like that. And he owned a couple of businesses. And the girlfriend of mine, she would always say, "Oh, you need to talk to him. He look good. He got money. Blah blah blah. You need to talk to him." And in my spirit, I knew something was up with him. I knew I should not be around that guy. I knew something was wrong, like something was off. And we didn't click. It was just, oh, he looked good. And sure enough, that was not the guy for me. So sure enough, yeah. You gotta follow what your spirit's telling you, your intuition. You don't just look at that and be like, oh, yeah. I'm gonna go with what this person's saying. Because people don't always have your best interests at heart. Like, people just want to be with a certain somebody because that's going to make them have a status, like, whatever. But I don't care about that because my heart has been broken so many times, and I've been through a lot of trauma. I couldn't take it no more. Like, I'm done with that. Like, if you still on that path in your life, I hope you wake up and learn one day too. But right now, I don't want to be on that road. I watch people on that road. I know where it's going to lead. And I just pray for them. That's it. That's all I can do.
For me, to answer that same question, I don't care about the comments. I don't be worried about any comments because I am married to you. So I must be doing something right as a man. Right. I am not a 2023 man, but a man that's kinda belongs in the 1960s or 1970s. I know I was born without a jaw, but I'd be damned if I let that stop me. I didn't let it stop me asking Vanny out. I understood. She was gorgeous, but her spirit was connecting so hard. I felt it first probably, and took a leap of faith. First time fell on my face with no pillow to break the fall. But I knew what I felt, and took a leap again for Valentine's Day. After that it was all love. Which brings me to the next question for my empress. When did you know that Joe was that one? That Joe was the end game?
One mic on? Okay, yeah. I remember, when you talked about that, I forgot to mention that too when we was going over our interview questions, whatever. But I was talking to Joe one day. It was like a couple of weeks ago, and we was talking about how when we both, we was at work, and so about me being embarrassed to be seen with you and be friends with you at work, and I would just talk so much mess, like, oh, I don't want to talk to him, and here he come again, he come talking to me and stuff like that, trying to get you up off of me and stuff like that. And I knew that once again that was peer pressure, worrying about what other people think. And before I go into more of what your question and all that is, I want to talk about caring what people think and how it's not going to lead you nowhere. When you can care about people's feelings and mistreating people, you want to care about that. But stop caring what people think, because that's going to hinder your success. It could be the nicest, sweetest guy, but he don't look like that guy that every woman wants. And you will pass up a good opportunity looking at how that person look. And that might be the one for you. Like, forget how a person look at the end of it. It's how a person treats you. Like, looking weird, being embarrassed, sometimes you got to step out your comfort zone and just explore life that way, because you're not going to see it all being ashamed and, oh, what this person going to think if I talk, what this going to think. Like, stop caring what people think. That's what my problem was. I keep on caring about what people think, how they going to view me. Oh, they're going to talk about my hair. They're going to talk about my makeup. They're going to talk about my feet. They're going to talk about my eyes. They're going to talk about my nails. Talk about me. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Talk about my husband, whatever. But I know what's up with the what's up. That's all that matters. And what was I getting at? Once again, ADHD. I'm all over the place. Oh, yeah. How did I know that we was the one, all that? Yeah, so after I was talking all that mess about him and stuff, and we had stopped talking because Joe had found out through somebody, he still won't tell me who that person was. And I don't know why. It's over now. You can tell me. I'm just curious. You'll tell me later. But anyway, the person told him, yeah, I heard she was talking shit about you, blah, blah, blah. And when he found out, he was so hurt. And I was hurt too. And I made a big mistake, and I had to apologize. And I told him, hey, if you don't want to talk to me no more, I understand. So when I see him at work, he'll have a hoodie on, and he looked all dark and doomed and gloomed and stuff. And I was like, I just felt bad. I felt so bad. And then I remember going home and just crying. I don't be crying over nobody. Like, I cried for him. Like, I lost a love, like a real close loved one. And he said he went home and cried too. And I was like, why am I crying so hard? Like, my eyes was puffy, my nose was stopped up. I was just really, really hurt. And so that's when I knew that me and Joe, we really, really had a spiritual, we had more than anything else I ever felt in my life. Like, I was like, yeah, that's my friend. That's what I said. That's my friend. I didn't say that's my husband. I said, that's my friend. That's the person I need to be with. He's connected to me somehow. I don't know why. And I was asking God, I was like, why am I feeling this feeling for him? Like, it was just too deep. And so, yeah, that's how I knew. So I couldn't see, like, every time I go to work, I was like, I can't see myself talking to nobody but Joe. Like, that's my friend. That's my buddy. What do you have to say, Joe? Because I'm just.
And I was fighting it too. I was like, why am I crying?
And I never see Joe cry. Like, Joe never ever cries. I don't think I ever seen you cry.
Over a person I hardly knew. Why am I trying? And that when I knew she was the one. And yeah, I fought it.
Yeah, I was like, why am I crying over this nigga? That's what I said. Why am I crying over this nigga? Like, I don't even know him like that. Like, he ain't nothing. It was just weird. I don't know. It was a feeling I never felt before in my life. I can't say that.
You've been married almost 3 years, being June 26th is our anniversary. What have you seen change since we made it official in 2020? Have you learned anything about your husband that you didn't know before?
I learned that when my husband say he finna do something, he gonna goddamn do it. That's what I learned. You set attainable goals and you do it. You don't be BSing around. You say, I'm finna start a lawn care business. You went and got the trailer. Then you got the flyers. Then you start connecting with people. Now you got clients. Not a whole lot of clients. What you got? You have like 10 clients, right? 9? Yeah, you got 9 clients so far. And we only been here for what? A year? We ain't even been here for a year. We moved to Atlanta from Illinois in 2022. November 2022. But you came before me. So, yeah, everything that Joe said he's going to do, he does it. That's what I learned. I see growth. I see something big happening. I don't know what's finna happen. But, go ahead.
And I told her that we were moving to Atlanta as a joke when I met her.
Yeah. When he first met me, he was like, we was just talking about things we want to do. I said, yeah, I want to be a radiologist. Knowing damn well I want to be a radiologist. But yeah, I was talking about, I want to be a radiologist. Because that's what I thought. I went to school for radiology. Finished all my classes, all that kind of stuff. And it just wasn't in me. That wasn't my calling to be a radiologist. But anyway, I digress. Joe, he was just joking with me, talking about, yeah, well, Joe told me he wants to be a truck driver. I wonder what happened to that. Never happened. But anyway, he said, yeah, I'm going to buy a truck. And he did. He bought him a truck. And he said, I'm moving to Atlanta. And you're coming with me. I was looking like, what is that to say? I'm not coming to Atlanta with you. I got my house over here. I just got my house. I'm not going to leave Illinois. And, yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Atlanta. You coming with me? And ha, ha, ha. It was like a joke, whatever. And so, yeah, we brushed that off. And now we're here. And, yeah, he's doing his DJing on TikTok. That's another thing I saw grow. His TikTok, blew up. Like, everybody knows him, and yeah, everywhere we go, oh, that's that guy from TikTok. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't know what it's gonna lead to, but I just know that Joe was born into this world different, And so he's not going to have a normal life because that's the way he was entered into this world. He wasn't normal anyway. So he's destined to be something great because he done a lot of great stuff for people. Like, can't nobody say Joe did him wrong. Can't nobody say, that nigga backstabbed me. Oh, that's a snake. I ain't never heard nobody say Joe did nothing bad to them. Joe, even when Joe make me mad, I can't say Joe is not a snake like that. When Joe say he gonna do something for you, he do it. He always come through. When Joe say he gonna help you, he helps you. When Joe loves, he loves. When Joe don't like you, it must be really something wrong with you. It take a lot but Joe is just he doesn't use his disability. You know how some people are disabled and they just mean and they're just over life and they're just cruel to everybody. Yeah. Joe is just kind to people. He doesn't use his trauma to hurt people. You know how they say hurt people hurt people. Joe loves people. And he always put himself out there to meet people and to help. If he see you in need, if you need some help, he's always there. Like, anything you need, like, Joe knows how to fix a lot of stuff too. Like, I'll be like, how you know how to fix that? And he's like, oh, I just went on YouTube, and 5 minutes later fixing on stuff. I'm like, okay. Just very talented, just good with his hands, and he has a good ear for music and how to put it together and stuff like that. Like his transitions and his DJing and all. I could say a lot of wonderful things about Joe, more than bad. Like, if it's something bad that I have to say about Joe, it's just like little irritating things. Like, yeah, he's always throwing tissue on the floor and leaving the toilet seat up. Like, it don't be nothing. I can't really say nothing bad about Joe.
And I know you want to know about the sex, but I think it's fair to say that we've been married for 3 years just about and still going strong. So my answer to that question is, we ain't breaking up. Vania, what you want to say to that?
Oh, wait. It sounded like when that thing talk, it sounded like you said, I know you want to know about the ex, like your ex. But I know you're talking about, people ask questions about our sex. Like, well, does he have a penis? Well, yeah. Do he have an arm? Do he have a leg? Do he have a neck? Do he have ears? Like, just because his jaw is missing doesn't mean everything else is missing. I don't even know how people think like that, but that's your brain. I don't know how the brain formulates to think like that. I don't get it, but no, that's, I don't think people should be questioning that, because like any other person, you see couples, you don't ask them, how do you have sex? So why would you ask us how we have sex? And I don't know. People are just some freaks out here. I think just people are just too freaky, and I don't like talking about that,
Anything you want to add?
We already went over this. No, I don't want to add, because if I add, I'm going to go into talking about my childhood and all that kind of stuff. And we'll be all day with this. So, no, I think that's it for this interview. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Bye. Do-do-do-do. This is a commercial break. We're back.
Hello, this your DJ BrownSugarV. I am here with my dad. So Dad, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us briefly about yourself?
Okay. My name is Willie Mack Williams. I'm known to be called Willie. My mom called me Mac when I was growing up. I was born in Florida, a little town called Live Oak, Florida. As a child, I always wanted to reach out and be a blessing or help to someone a lot. And that was a lot of my childhood growing up. Working with children at that time was different. I had never worked with children before that much. And she wanted to adopt children. And before she started adopting, she had been dealing with foster care. And while we was dealing with foster caring, one of the child had a problem that no ordinary doctors could not find. So we had to send him to this type of special place. And while we was at the special place, we met Joey. And I kind of fell in love with him instantly.
Hold on, Dad, you're getting ahead of us.
Okay, sorry, son. It's just a story that is so vivid to my heart.
Tell us about your personal first perception of Joseph. How did it all happen from your point of view?
My son Joseph, my son Joey. Okay.
Your personal take on how it all happened.
Okay, all right. Before we was taking on foster kids, my wife has mentioned to me that she wanted to deal with handicapped children. And I was open to it because I began to deal with boys and daughters of foster caring. And I began to get into not just foster caring, but I wanted to make my kids personally to me more. So we went into adoption. And then when we went into adopting children, I adopted some of my foster care kids that my wife was foster caring. And then we was taking on foster caring kids. And one of the kids that we took on, like I said, they had a medical problem. And the regular doctors could not find it. So we had to go to this special place where they did taking care of special kids with special problems. And while we was there, we met Joey. And instantly I began to fall in love with him because he had such a way about him. He was only about 3.5 years old at that time. And at that time we began to reach out. At least myself, I was really reaching out to Joey, and he really kind of liked it me, but he was really reaching out, caring for all of the other little kids that was in there, and he was just there being a help to them, and there I was observing him and liking the way that he was carrying himself about doing, and we was told that he learned how to operate computers at the age of 2 years old, and he was very good at it. And they gave him some kind of board that had all kind of pictures of things on it. And whenever he mashed a button on it that had the picture to it, it was speaking, telling the name of the picture and things of this nature. And he really liked it, enjoyed that, and he was very good at taking different ones and kind of putting them together and making little kind of funny statements about them. And we really enjoyed that. And then later, I told my wife, I said, you know, this child I surely would love to have. And so she began to talk to the administrative peoples. And so the administrative peoples told us that he was a child with too many complications, and could we really deal with all these different matters. And so we made up our mind together that we was going to take on Joey and deal with all of the different complications. And we recognized right off at hands that he dealt with a tracheostomy that was placed into his throat for him to breathe. And then we later on learned that he had to have a gastrology tube to eat and to be fed by, to deal with. And so they allowed us to take Joey home with us for testing to see how we would work with him for one day. And we did that on a weekend, and we enjoyed it. My wife was pretty good at reaching out and working medically with Joey. And so when they allowed one of them nurses to stay with us that night. And we really began to work with it and love it. And then they said, well, you have to come and show us at the hospital how y'all would reach out and deal with him. So me and my wife had to spend a week at the hospital learning how to work with all of Joey's materials of his body. And they was being able to tell us all about how he was born and the different operations that he had went through to help him. And they was letting us understand that the child was a very complicated child to deal with. And so we just allowed ourselves to be strong to reach after him. And I wanted him to grow up with everything I had within me to help him and to be there for him as a good father. He was given to go to court and have a judge to pronounce that we could have him adopted completely. And then when we completed the works of the adoption of Joey, the hospital let us know that he would have to have nurses around the clock.
During my growing up years, did you have any scared moments with me?
We had a few times, it was about a couple of times or more, that the nurses, one of the nurses was had a tendency not to want to react with you properly, like you was taking care of you. Your tracheostomy came out of your throat when you was playing, and it popped out of your throat. And we knew that that was the lifeline to your life. And so the nurse really was too slow at really getting you the new tracheostomy and putting it in and things of this nature. And my wife, she instantly went into grabbing the tracheostomy and pulling the pin out, putting the pin down inside of it. And then she took it and instantly put it back into your throat. And when she put it in your throat, she had to take the pin out so that you could breathe. And so when she took the pin out, she said, you passed out as a child, a baby. And when you passed out, she said she knew that she had to really work with you. And so she began to compress you that you would breathe. And she was saying, breathe, Joey, breathe, Joey. And she said, when the breath started coming back and you was breathing out, she said she began to relax because that was a very threatening moment for your life. And those was the experiences that we did have.
How did that make you feel?
It was exciting to me, but because of my love for you as reaching out as one that would want to be there for you, it made me feel like a father, reaching out to save his son, reaching out to be there in spite of whatever it takes. It did a lot to me. It kind of like drew me closer and closer to you than I thought. And from those experiences like that, that was really kept us really reaching strongly out for you. You see, because there was already a desire for my wife to learn how to work with handicapped peoples. And we worked with people that had problems, but not to the place where it was completely handicapped.
Growing up in Chicago and moving around to the suburbs, would you say I was hospitalized often?
No, we kind of like handled it through the nursing system. Everything worked out real good. The only time that you had to go to the hospital is when they was exchanging from the G tube to the G tube button, because they had to work on you to put the G tube button into your body.
What would you say, from being a little kid to now, my greatest strengths are?
Right now, I see you overcome all of the different traumas of physically of your body, where about your breathing tracheostomy, you know how to remove it and put a new one in, and then just keep on breathing. And then you learn also how to, when you was having the G tube, you learn how to take the G tube out and put a new G tube in, and that was very good. So you're accomplishing things that you wanted to accomplish for life, just to keep on moving forward. You became very unique and good at it. And the thing that we loved so much about you, at an early age, you was learning these things, and you was doing it to the capacity where about as though it was something ordinary, comfortable with you. And we let you do a lot of things for yourself. And we began to see how you grow so strongly unique. And even when you went to school and stuff of this nature, we was really reaching out. And, you know, I've learned something about you that's different from most children that grow up. Your capacity of learning was fast, quick. It didn't really linger for a period of time. You wanted to be something, you wanted to grow, you wanted to be there for some other as well as yourself. And that's what came out of observing and watching you grow. Even while you was in school, your capacity for reaching out for your friends and your different ones was very strong and unique. And you would bring, we'll talk about your friends when you get home and things like that. And so your childhood time of growing was very strong. And I loved it. I really do appreciate it.
Tell us about a memorable moment you had with me.
We went shopping. And we was at the place called the Evergreen Mall. And while we was there at Evergreens, while we was reaching out, one of the kids that you met began to scream and holler, and he began to run and hollered, "Mama, mama, look at that. I don't know what that is. Look at that." And it began to trouble my heart real strong. And they was all pointing towards you, and they said, "What happened to that?" They would call you names. And it really didn't dawn on my heart very much. But you had, at that time, a computer board where you could type your feelings, your thoughts out on it and mash a button and it would speak back. And they said, "What was wrong with that child?" And you would type in, "I was born like this." From the way that you expressed it on the board, the computer board, that really did something for me. I thought that you probably couldn't have taken such a stressful moment like that. And I was really hurt and angered. But you, at that time, you wanted to express your feelings and your thoughts. And you didn't do it out of such a different way. You did it very calmly and politely. And you said, I was born this way. And that was so unique to me. It was very touching. I learned something from you as much as you probably have learned from me while you was growing up. So it touched me. And I'm still very much touched today. God has blessed me with a unique son and one that's reaching out for life and one that's go for the things that will create more peaceful life. So these are some of the things that was expressible to me from you.
You already touched on this. How did you handle people staring at me and laughing at me when we went out in public? And how did that make you feel?
What started making me feel at ease and much better? It's not so much as the way they did, it's how you responded. I didn't see you respond in a backlash, like throw off, or or try to use any foul words or something to express where you were. You did it out of reaching for love. Your expressions and your ways was to show them that you was more concerned about getting along and doing right and having a peaceful life than expressing anything else. And see, I found out from you at that time that it was the same thing that the Bible talks about. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. When you began to show them that all the other things up there, reaching and speaking and acting, was not hurtful, it was something that you had to deal with, overcome. And so a lot of things at that time, to me, you was expressing more of an adulthood person than a child. And I did not realize later as you began to grow up that a lot of that stuff, it really, you had to make an adaptation to it. You had to really make it whereby you could overcome it and it wouldn't keep you from going forward. And that's what made the difference with me in observing you. I didn't realize how much inside that this had taken a toll on you. But I'm grateful to God that you decided to keep moving in spite of every different throw off. And you did get quite a few throw off. It was more than just in the morgue. It was sometime even at the church that we went through to different ones. And it hurted your mother because she really didn't know how to really deal with it. And I had to really be there for her and encourage her. I said, he's taking it. He's not debating and arguing about it. And I had to let her know, listen, let it go. And she said, but you just don't know. That's what you would say to me a lot. And I couldn't see it because of the way that you was expressing yourself at an early age of life coming up.
That brings me to my next question. Why have you learned over time from me? You mentioned I learned from you, which I did. What have you learned over time that you say, I learned this from my son Joey?
You know, so sometimes I don't express it out like that. I just show it in a gratitude manner towards things that I deal with in life. And but deep down inside, I recognize that I've gained a lot from you. Yes. And I do have it in me, what you just said. You know, I have that feeling of gratitude to the place that it makes me feel like I'm doing my responsibility. I am there as a real true father. It does that.
Anything that you would like to share that way you think can support the positivity of this interview?
Reaching out and remembering you has always been a deep thing that I learned in life. The thing that are real good, my parents always taught me, grab hold to them and never let them leave you. They'll always hold on to the things that have been reaching out in there for your life. And so you have been a great memory in that sense. And since now that we're gathering back together again, as you're much older now, mature, and you've come into marriage life and all of this nature, it has really done me good as a father of having you as a son. It has really done me real good. And the beauty out of all that you've gone through and learned, you still remember me as dad. And I'm grateful. That's really makes me feel more there, responsible as a good father. You know, I'm thankful.
Thank you for coming through and blessing us with your time.
Thank you, because this is a grave opportunity. It really is.
And we are out. Wow, that was awesome. Well, there you have it. A glimpse of your DJ, BrownSugarV. I really hope this gave you a new perspective of who I am and a microscope into my life.